Hi, Mustangs. Welcome back to Mustang Report for our first episode. And I'm Dylan Case.
I'm Dejon Thompson.
And let's get over to Elena with Mr. Krill.
Hello, everyone. My name's Elena Stovall, and this is the first episode of the Mustang Report. And every year on the first episode, we start with an interview with our one and only principal, Mr. Creel. Are you ready, Mr. Creel?
Always ready.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start you off with your first question, which is how long have you been a principal?
So I've been a principal at this building. This is my 9th year as the principal here. I was a principal at Club Hill Elementary for one. So it's the last 10 years.
Okay, and following that, have you had any other jobs in the educational fields?
Following that question or following this job?
Following that question.
Following that question. So, no, I've been in Garland ISD. This is year number 28 for me. So I've been around here a while. I'm old.
All right, and what is your favorite thing about working at Sachse High School?
I think it's the people. I think it's the staff. I think it's the students, the community. It's like family. And you hear that, that's kind of cliche, but it truly is. So we've got some great faculty members, great students, and just a really good community that supports us.
What has been the largest class size you've ever had, like as a graduating class?
Graduating class, I don't know, a little bit over 700. I think this senior class will be the biggest, but it won't last long because the junior class is bigger than the senior class, and the freshman class is, I think, probably the largest freshman class we've had. So, people move in and out, so we'll see how it all shakes out at the end.
Now, some questions about some of the new policies that were put in place. One of the questions that I know a lot of students are wondering is why aren't students allowed to go to the restroom during runtime?
So runtime is only 26 minutes long, and with the 2020 rule, well, there you go. It engulfs the whole thing, and really we just want to control the halls a little bit better. We have a lot of movement with our GRCTC kids coming back from the morning block, those getting ready to leave for the afternoon block. So being only 26 minutes, it's really more of a control of our hallways and safety than anything else.
So following that, what prompted the new cell phone policy?
So the cell phone policy, that is Garland ISD board policy, and it's been in place for a long time. It's just never really been enforced. And I think as we move forward in this technology era, age, whatever you want to call it, as we continue to progress in it, students are more and more reliant on their cell phone and more distracted by their cell phone. So I think the district and central admin just said, hey, we need to refocus, especially after COVID. We've seen academics go down, whether that's across the board, just in general, or when you look at state testing, the grades aren't as good. And when kids are on their phone, they're not receiving the instruction. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And I think sometimes parents don't really want to enforce that at home, but they know it's an issue. So we can be the bad guy and say, hey, we're not going to do this. And, really during those 90 minutes, you need to be focused on the instruction that's being delivered. So I think that's wise to really hopefully improve our academics.
Another question that a lot of students had was why was there 2 minutes added to the schedule, a lot of the end of the classes?
So overall, there was 6 minutes added, and it really becomes an issue. The state says you have to have so many seat time minutes in a class, and that's by TEA, the Texas Education Agency. So when you look at our schedule, the amount of days that we have in a school year, we have to be sure that we're in compliance with that. So we had to tweak our schedule a little bit.
Another question that a lot of people have been talking about is about the new tardy policy and the consequences for that. What kind of was the reasoning behind that?
So we tweaked our tardy policy really at the beginning, probably about midway second semester last year. For those that have been around, we used to keep you out of class for the entire class period. And then in going back to the cell phone policy, that's kind of punitive. We're holding you out of a class that we want you to excel in and get the academics in. So we made some adjustments where we're going to continue to count the tardies, but we're going to escort you to class. Obviously, we know students like cell phones. So even though it's supposed to be put up during the day, except in the lunchroom, we're going to take it for the day once you reach that number to try to increase kids getting here on time, because we know we can teach you if you're here in school.
Now a little bit of a more personal question. Where did you grow up? What high school did you go to? And what do you think your favorite subject was in high school?
So I moved around a lot all the way up until fourth grade. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. Dad was an electrician. So he climbs all the telephone poles and power poles and works on that. So we moved around a lot until fourth grade, and then we settled in Mesquite. So I went to schools in Mesquite, Florence Black Elementary, Agnew Middle School, and graduated from Mesquite High School back in the 90s when y'all weren't even thought about back then. I'm that old. Not the 90s. I graduated in 90. So, and I think probably, I don't know. I don't know if I had a favorite subject or if I had favorite teachers. So I had some really good teachers along the way, some great coaches. So I don't know that there was a favorite subject. I was probably best in probably science, even though I don't know that that was my favorite.
Another question that I hear a lot of other students asking is, why is our homecoming so early this year?
So when we get the schedule, we have to look at when we have Friday night games as opposed to Thursday night games, and what Friday night games are home games. So we look at that whole thing, and then we also have to talk to the coaches, or to Coach Barron. So it's really Lauren Ellis, our student activities director, myself, and Coach Barron's. And then we also look at the distraction factor, because we have a very competitive football team. We play some very competitive teams, and homecoming's a distraction. It's a week full of activities. You got the dance, you got the ceremony before the game, and really you don't want to put it on a game that is a big game that may have huge playoff implications. So you try to minimize the distraction. And personally, I kind of like it early, kind of get it out of the way, because then you don't have to worry about weather. You don't have to worry about rain. No, it'll probably rain in September now. But it may be a little bit hot, but that's kind of why we went with it that way.
What advice do you have to any new students, specifically freshmen coming into high school?
So what I told them at Roundup is, high school's kind of like a game. It's like a board game. There's instructions, there's rules. If you stay within those instructions and within those rules, you can be pretty successful. You step out of those rules or get outside the instructions, then high school can be a drag. You can receive consequences. You can extend your stay here beyond 4 years. So it's just one of those things that if you want to win at a game, you play the rules, play by the instructions. You want to win at school, do the same thing.
Do you have any current big goals for the school year that you want to accomplish while here at Sachse?
We've done a lot. In my 8 years here, the teachers and the students, they just pour into this campus and do a lot. I think just to continue to build on what we've established, what, the principals that came before me, Mr. Hammerly, Mr. Merrill, they established, some traditions and some expectations, and I think just continue to build on those and the excellence that they put forth. And I mean, our teachers and students do that each and every day.
Now, another personal question. Did you ever have someone growing up, someone who gave you motivation or your biggest inspiration to go into the career that you chose?
I don't know. I mean, again, I had a lot of favorite teachers along the way, but I originally didn't want to go into education, to be honest. I was going to do accounting, and then I couldn't picture myself sitting in a office all day long doing numbers, and because I really don't like math and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I need to do something where I'm a little bit more mobile and can be out and about and just talk to a friend. And he said, I'm going to teach and coach. Why don't you do that? I said, sold. So went, met with my advisor, and here's what's the easiest way to get out, the fastest way to get out. And so I did that, and then just kind of fell in love with it.
So, speaking about the future, what advice would you give to all of the seniors who are going to be graduating and going on in life?
That's easy. It doesn't matter if you're going to the workforce, you're going to the military, you're going to college, you have no clue in the world what you're going to do. Somewhere inside you, you have a dream. You have a goal. Just always chase it. Don't ever give up on it. There's not one that's too big or too small. Just always chase your dreams.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to add at the end of the interview? Any words of wisdom?
Of course. Run. Mustangs run.
Thank you, Elena. And that's it this week for Mustang Report.